Hello there, welcome to my review of the Rockford Files Season 2, Episode 7, The Real Easy Red Dog, written by Stephen J. Cannell and directed by Ivan Dixon. The episode begins at Jim's trailer, where he's watching a game and trying to place a bet. He's sort of interrupted by the arrival of Jennifer Sandstrom, played by Stephanie Powers. She wants to hire Jim to look into the suicide of her sister, who she believes was murdered. Jim is reluctant to take the case until he sees the colour of her money, but even then remains reticent.
All right. Look, I'll look around for one day, huh? I'll go up there, I'll look around, I'll see if I can turn up something.
He eventually acquiesces, and so Jennifer provides him with more information, and he's on the case. So far, this seems like a fairly pedestrian plotline, until we see the familiar sight of two goons watching and then following Rockford. Jim checks in with Dennis, but Dennis refuses to help. For one thing, it's Lieutenant Deal's case, and secondly, he just doesn't want to.
There's got to be some reason you guys are calling it suicide.
There is.
Okay, what is it?
We're calling it suicide because it was a suicide.
He then makes his way to the sister's home and snoops around the car parked in the driveway before narrowly missing being caught by the pool guy.
Oh, hi. Say, is there anybody in the house?
That filter, I'm gonna have to take it down to the shop and get some parts.
Inside, he encounters Tom Bryce, and thanks to his search of the car, he's able to schmooze Mr. Bryce.
My name is... Yes, I know your name. You're Tom Bryce. I called Friedler, Pike, and Morse. They said you'd be here.
Played by a returning George Weiner, our first Columbo connection for this episode. After getting rid of Bryce, he searches the house, but finds very little. On a hunch, he checks the pool filter and finds a large amount of hair, so calls Deal to demand that he check Alice Sandstrom's body for whether it was salt water or pool water in her lungs.
This is not a murder, Rockford. I closed this case, and I damn well don't appreciate you digging around in it.
This is a simple opening with a very little intrigue until Jim finds the hair, which hints that maybe Alice was drowned there, but doesn't confirm it. It's kept interesting by the con that Jim pulls on Bryce and the addition of the goons, but is nothing we haven't seen before. This all changes, however, when Jim goes to see Jennifer to report on what he's found, only to discover that Jennifer is not the same Jennifer who hired him, and has no intention of investigating her sister's death.
If you're here investigating Alice's death for the insurance company, I've already told Mr. Darkers we're not filing a claim. It was a suicide.
Confused, but quick to roll with this twist, he finds out that Alice had been in and out of a mental institution for years, having been suffering from severe depression. Meanwhile, the goons have found out who Rockford is and are following him, while other goons keep an eye on the girl.
What about the girl?
He's got two other guys on her now, but he says it may have already gone down.
Which girl is unclear. Of course, Jim is no stranger to being followed and uses his wits to discover the goons are actually cops.
Cops.
We've gone from a small amount of intrigue to a big bucketful with a fake client, a potential murder, a police tale, and a real sister with less concern about her siblings' possible murder than the fake one. Once again, the show demonstrates just how versatile it is, and how it can constantly surprise. Jim manages to turn the tables on the cops and follows them to the house of the fake Jennifer. He discovers her real name is Christine Dussault and is herself a private eye.
Well, what have we here?
She picked on Jim at random to throw the cops off her scent as she was working for an insurance company off the books.
Pacific Trust was contacted by the thieves and offered a chance to buy back the collection at half the price.
No, but they wanted the cops kept on the outside of the deal.
Jim now wants her to clean things up with Deal to get the cops off his back, but it seems that Deal hates her just as much as he hates Jim.
He hates me.
Yeah, me too. Well, anyway, we're going down there, and you're going to clear me with Deal. You're going to tell him you sent me off on a wild goose chase.
We see this when Deal is none too pleased to see Rockford, as the autopsy has shown no pool water in Alice's lungs.
I have been dreading the day when you two would get together on anything.
So it looks like it was suicide, but at least now Jim has the cops off his back. Of course, Jim being Jim, he can't let the case go, and returns to Alice's house as he's realised he never saw a pool truck.
Well, I just assumed that there was a back exit to this place, and he was parked in the back.
After a bit more snooping, Christine convinces him to let the whole thing go, as they have very little to go on. But it's clear that they are onto something when the phony pool man follows them, gets ahead of them, and tries to blow them away. Just as Jim's natural charm is working its magic on Christine.
Oh, say, I've got some of that stew left. You want to stay for dinner?
Meanwhile, poor Mr. Bryce's body has been found by Deal at the junkyard, and because he's Deal, he immediately suspects Jim.
Okay, if we can put Rockford with Bryce this morning, I want a warrant put out on him. Suspicion of murder.
Back at Christine's, the cops arrive, but Christine has a few tricks of her own to throw them off.
Do you know where he is?
No, I don't, but you're welcome to come in and have a look.
Well, that won't be necessary.
Garner and Powers have terrific chemistry in this episode, and the growth of their relationship is very natural, as they share a lot of characteristics but are different enough that you buy into their budding romance. It's not easy to develop characters in 45 minutes, especially with so much plot going on, but every scene they share is beautifully written to make it feel like they are quickly getting to know each other. And like each other.
And then we'll check into a motel.
Are you trying to corrupt me?
Yeah, I think maybe I am.
They come up with a plan and go to Alice's bank with Christine disguised as Alice in order to open her safety deposit box. But someone there has contacted an Aaron Friedler, played by our second Columbo connection, a returning Bruce Kirby. His associate is the pool man, and we learn that he killed Bryce and Alice.
Look, I had to do it. You didn't need to kill her, you didn't need to kill Bryce.
The pool man hightails it to the bank, and once again tries to off Jim and Christine, but Jim leads him on a chase, where they're quickly joined by a squad car. With all three of them arrested, the mess is quickly cleared up at the police station, where, thanks to Jim, although not getting the credit, Deal manages to wrap up what turned out to be an illegal baby smuggling operation. And the reason Alice was killed is she was one of the mothers who had her baby taken, and there was a chance that she was going to blow the operation wide open. This is a frenetic, fast-paced episode that packs so much plot into its runtime, it's amazing that it's not a confused mess. But it's not only perfectly coherent, it's also a thoroughly entertaining story, with a few good laughs and a great cast. My only complaint really is that Bruce Kirby's Aaron Friedler is introduced too late and with too little explanation as to his role in the whole thing, and I just don't think it needed him. We could have easily just had the pool man as the villain. It could even allow us to have these characters return at a later date, introducing Friedler then as the mastermind behind the baby smuggling operation. But to be honest, that is a very minor complaint in a fantastic episode. Sidelining Dennis was risky, as he could have been helpful, but for the antagonist to the end, Deal is brilliantly done. And we really get the sense that Deal hates PIs, and these two PIs in particular. The story also makes perfect sense despite all the different threads that we're expected to follow, as Alice really was deeply depressed, and so suicide would have made sense to her sister and to the cops. And because the scale of what was going on was so big, it also made sense for the poor man to commit the two murders he does. In my opinion, it's probably the best written episode so far, and you don't even miss the lack of regular characters, which is a triumph. Once again, though, this would be the only appearance for a fantastic guest character, as Christine doesn't come back at any point, which is a real shame, but even so, this is still a 5 out of 5 for me. Thank you. Goodbye.